Scientists have been attempting for decades to create aircraft capable of traveling at a speed equal to the speed of light, some of the most fundamental issues facing people. How did we come to be can be explained what has occurred and what is present outside via this net. The huge open NASA creation, there's a chance that obtain those clarifications at last in this clip. We'll discuss the most recent. Hello and welcome to KYC News. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Identify and learn what is in store for NASA's future. So let's get started directly into it first. Let's define light speed. Despite what its name implies, light speed, the velocity of light through the air, roughly you cannot move at 671 million miles per hour. Imagine how quickly that actually occurs. The greatest possible speed at which anything, this is the essential constant throughout travel, is natural solely in accordance with the principles of physics. Electromagnetic radiation, including light, gamma rays, and radio waves, can move at the velocity of light in a void. They are referred to as massless waves. Particles, therefore they aren't at rest, can travel at the speed of light and has mass. These waves are capable of traversing a vacuum, such as an empty space with no obstructions, interference with rest. Mass particles, protons, electrons, and atoms, for example, never even approach the speed of light, even though they can be extremely quickly. High speeds will always be the case, falling below the speed of light owing to its relatively low weight in a vacuum. Frequently, a high-speed light is utilized. Point of reference for other speeds in, for instance, in physics, the speed of a space-traveling item is frequently based on how quickly it moves, comparable to traveling at the speed of light. The fastest speed is that of light. The point at which information and energy can travel through space and is a fundamental nature's constant. The theory of relativity suggests that a thing moves toward the speed of light as its mass grows and becomes infinite. How much energy is needed to increase its speed to that of light? For this reason alone, it's regarded it is impossible for any mass object to even the smallest particles can. Quickest artificial spacecraft, the Parker solar probe that was put into orbit in 2018, is only capable of accelerating to speeds of 430,000 kilometers per hour, a very slow speed. The speed of light is not the full speed. NASA has previously concentrated its efforts on creating spacecraft capable of travel throughout our solar system. Rapidly, examples include the Parker solar probe and the New Horizons spacecraft that took advantage and accelerated to high speeds of gravitational support from planets. Accelerated pace. Additionally, NASA has focused on the creation of propulsion technology can enable spaceships to move more quickly, as well as further than ever before, like ion solar sails, antimatter, and thrusters propulsion mechanisms. Although these technologies are still quite distant from, even if they were traveling at the speed of light to get there, it would have required a difficult to transport anyone, including people, live things on board. In addition, NASA has investigated a number of physicists and cosmologists' theories, as well as the potential for wormholes or other time-traveling shortcuts that could allow for faster than light travel one day. However, these concepts have been purely hypothetical and not yet implemented, confirmed to be feasible. NASA has recently been involved in looking into certain design methods, potential future spaceship, the speed of light, by investigating novel propulsion technologies. This study is straining the capabilities of physics and trying to accomplish what was once seen as impossible, but it has been looking towards different methods of maybe faster than the speed of light by distorting the material of a spacetime itself, rather than attempting to boost an object's kinetic energy in the manner suggested by Dr. Harold Sonny White in 2012 during his NASA presentation for its work in this area. NASA created the cutting-edge propulsion. The physics laboratory is another name for a company called Eagle Works Laboratories, a research center at NASA's Johnson Room Center. The laboratory's primary objectives include advanced propulsion development technologies for spaceflight, such that would conceivably permit greater than light speed. The lab performs studies on several topics, Themes, such as the examination of the extreme examples of matter and energy behavior environments for advanced technology testing methods for propulsion and their development of new space technologies exploration. The lab also studies things like physicists' hypotheses like the potential for wormholes or other possible time-traveling shortcuts allow for faster-than-light travel. One day Dr. Harold White, along with his team that is looking into the historical viability of these concepts, the advanced scientists' research physics lab propulsion might not have instant application, although it was still applications due to the fact that it addressed that other scientists have not addressed. However, taking into account that the lab's objective to create propulsion systems that would allow for human exploration of within the next 50 years, the solar system, the preliminary estimate for the amount of energy needed for greater than light speed travel was predicted to be very high. Be a billion times more energy than there is in, but over time the universe researchers were able to lessen this first, extrapolate the energy to a few times. Presently to nearly the mass of the Sun Jupiter, Dr. White's suggestion was to conceive of a warp that might a year to go to the star Alpha Centauri, a cost equivalent to a couple weeks at a. He pitched this concept to NASA and had a spot at the Johnson Space given to them. Establishing the Eagle Works Center laboratories ever since that time has prioritized three major projects: creating and validating a time warp field propulsion via quantum particle manipulation, testing several resonance frequencies and a vacuum recessed thrusters. Despite the fact that some promising findings from these tests, more studies is required going forward. The lab immediately constructed a warp-style instrument known as the White Dude Field Interferometer to assess the extremely a few-minute shifts and space-time essential to this technology. Positive outcomes were being obtained. He didn't know how this technology could be increased in size to power a spacecraft. Even produced a concept illustration of a ship that might make use of this using the X Enterprise technology with wings that would produce the while Dr. White paved the warp bubble, a method for aspiring scientists to more discoveries that might. NASA will create a plane that would you can move at the speed of light. David Burns, a NASA engineer, was the next in order to advance this research. He suggested a new engine concept that can go faster than light without using any propellant-based materials, an M drive, the electromagnetic drive, often known as the suggestion for a propulsion system without the use of any fuel, produced the concept of an external fuel source initially made in 2001 by Roger Shoya, and it is founded on the idea of using microwaves to power the M drive. Has been regarded as an infraction of the principle of momentum conservation and additional physical concepts, and it is frequently described as the impossibility propelled by media. Notwithstanding, recent scientific research has revealed that although M drive can provide thrust, the cause of this is still unknown. Burns has developed a concept based on this. Utilizing a helical engine, combination of advanced particle systems accelerators, like the ones and using the Large Hadron Collider benefit from how mass changes while traveling as quickly as light ignites the helical engine of is. It's possible that the engine of light achieve 297 million meters per second. Second, in a document posted to the NASA website, Burns compared it to a weight inside a spring-loaded box that is threaded onto a line either end to describe his idea of the possibility of the helical engine to transform space travel big. It can even decrease even the distance between planets and to a little portion of what it is, galaxies currently. Additionally, it can lessen the enormous amounts of fuel are required and make space travel more effective. The helix engine's evolution is being observed carefully by scientists and engineers from all around the world, and it excited to see how it plays a part in the upcoming helix engine. Makes use of particles similar to the accelerators found in large-scale particle collider via the application of electromagnets. High-speed acceleration of particles then recirculated via the motor to be let go again. According to Newton's laws of motion, the response to action must be equal, and the principle of the opposing reaction is proved in a test in which a box containing spring is put inside, and when the box moves as the spring is compressed a different direction, when the spring hits the box's apex causes the recoil by rebounding, changing the box's direction and making a loop. However, if the volume of the box's weight inside was to one direction's popularity would rise cause a stronger push in that the right way. With more thrust according to special relativity theory, a particle is getting close to the speed of light. If ions were used in, its mass would grow. The location of the box and the weight it might theoretically be substituted with a loop. Possible to increase the ion's speed slower at one end of the loop than the other. A thrust was caused by others, but in the engine would need to practice huge, with the 200-meter length and 12 require 165 meters in diameter. 1 megawatt of power to produce if it had a newton of thrust. It would only to accelerate significantly in the space is a frictionless environment. However, not all researchers agree with this engine. This propellant electromotive force, or RF resonance, a propulsion system called a cavity thruster that produces thrust through bouncing as they circulate inside a sealed chamber. Several scholars asserted that the M drive generates thrust devoid of the requirement for any fuel that would, as we defy the rules of physics, presently comprehend them. Researcher Martin Tajma at the Dresden German University of Technology has conducted examinations on the M drive and regarded to be at risk for suffering the same issue as other inertial systems for propulsion, which is what they do not function in a zero-friction environment. In addition, Taskbar mentions the M drive. Peculiar relativity is used, which makes it more difficult to understand the device. If a plane is capable of the ability to move at the speed of light, never when everything was finished, there will still remain a few problems. Moving at the pace of light would cause time to slow down. As a thing moves toward the speed of light for the observer of the world, time slows down. Moving thing. It follows from this that if a spaceship traveled across time at the speed of light on board, seems to be moving a lot more slower than Earth time. This might cause the crew serious issues like as aging more slowly than the average of the cosmos.